Hey everyone. In this video, I want to talk to you about how I cope with stress. And this was actually a video that one of you suggested, so always remember that you can feel free to make suggestions at any point, and I'll try to tackle the videos as soon as I can. So, how do I cope with stress? Well, one of the main things that I like to do is to remind myself to breathe deeply and slowly throughout the day. For me, this has kind of been that life hack that has helped me more than anything, really, because it's kind of like making meditation something that you do all throughout the day, so that way you can't really ever get into that mentality of putting it off, because normally people think of meditation as this thing that you have to set aside half an hour of your day or an hour even in some cases, and most people don't want to do that. I know I don't usually want to do that, because for me half an hour time is a lot of time. I could do a lot of things in that time frame, and sitting still and just trying not to think doesn't really sound like my idea of something I want to do with my time. So once I realized that you can just focus on breathing throughout the day and you can actively meditate in that way, it's what I've done ever since. So what I like to do is I like to breathe in deeply and slowly and engage my diaphragm, so that way I can actually get those benefits from deep breathing, which is basically reducing stress and anxiety in your life. It basically centers you and grounds you in the present moment, so you can't really be all that stressed anymore. So the method that I use is I like to breathe in through my nose, and I like to push my belly out when I breathe in. That's how you engage the diaphragm. And then I try to breathe in for about counting 6 to 10 seconds, and then at the top I'll hold my breath for about 2 to 4 seconds. And then when I exhale, I suck my belly in, and I also will count to about 6 to 10 seconds. And that's what I do. And I do it as often as I can throughout the day, especially when I'm feeling myself getting really anxious because my job can be kind of fast paced at times. Or I even will do this when I'm talking to other people and I notice that I'm thinking too much and I'm not being in the present moment, because I like to be present with people as much as possible. It's just a great way of becoming fully present in the moment. So you can put that into practice in your own life, and I highly suggest it. And the reason I say 6 to 10 seconds on the breathing exercises is because you want to do what works for you. And for me, I've gotten to a point where I can go slow enough that I usually will do 10 seconds, but it can be a bit uncomfortable if you're not used to it. So figure out what works for you. And the most important part of it that I've found is the holding your breath for 2 to 4 seconds or longer if you can. Because when you hold your breath like that, I don't know entirely what it's doing within your body, but I've found that it just really works at grounding you. It's insane how good it is. My theory is that it just helps you actually utilize the oxygen that you breathe in, because so many of us take really shallow breaths, which I feel like that isn't giving your body the time it needs to actually circulate that oxygen. But when you hold your breath at the top, must do something. But anyway, that's enough about the breathing exercise. So beyond that, what I also like to do is just working out. For me, that's a huge stress reliever. I can't even tell you how beneficial it is. And not only is it a stress reliever, but it makes you happier, just because it gives you this active form of, well, it gives you something to do as one, but it also gives you this active way of kind of testing your limits and proving to yourself that you're capable of awesome things. And it is a really cool way of basically setting goals for yourself and then achieving them in pretty short periods of time, because you can make monthly goals when you're working out. Whereas in other areas of life, that's quite harder to do, because in some areas it just takes way longer than that to actually see results. But with working out, you can even start seeing results within 2 weeks. So I always highly suggest working out and exercising to people. It's just such a great way of relieving stress. And hey, being healthy is awesome. It makes you feel better, makes you happier. So everyone should strive to be active. It's just one of those things that makes your life so much better. So beyond working out, other things I like to do is just things that I enjoy. And this is usually video gaming, because it's one of the easiest things I can do, especially during lockdown, now that it's a bit more difficult to actually hang out with the people I care about. So video gaming is a huge thing for me, and I love doing that. So I would never say anyone is a nerd or a geek or wasting their time if they're gaming. The way I think, if you're actually enjoying the time that you're spending, it doesn't matter what the hell you're doing, as long as you're not hurting other people. Just have fun. The whole point here is to enjoy your life. So your hobbies, what you do in your spare time, I hope you actually do things you enjoy. Don't worry what other people think. I used to be self-conscious when I gamed when I was a lot younger, because I was like paper thin back then. I was just, I looked like a gamer. Now I probably don't look like a gamer, and it's something people usually wouldn't think of me anymore. So that's pretty fun. And another benefit of working out. So guys, work out if you're a gamer. Work out. Trust me, it's awesome. Because nobody's going to think you're a nerd if you actually have some muscle on you. But anyway, yeah, so I love gaming. In fact, right now, one of my favorite games that I've been playing is Doom Eternal. It's just freaking awesome. I love games where you basically can actually improve at them, where they're difficult when you first start playing, but then the better you get at it, the more fun you have, and you feel like you're accomplishing something because you're actually improving at it, just like working out. So I love games that are like that, as opposed to ones that are more like story based and not quite, there's no like difficulty curve or anything. Not really into that so much. But beyond gaming, I also like reading and just learning new things. So that's another thing I'll do, watching YouTube videos and just stuff like that, learning from people I look up to and people who are almost like mentors to me, even though I've never met them. Like Zan Perrione is an example of this. He actually wrote my favorite book, The Alabaster Girl, which I would highly suggest to everyone. And that's an awesome book, and I would say everyone should try to find those mentors they can look up to. Even if you've never met them, you don't need to meet your mentors. I mean, if nowadays with the internet, you can look up awesome people and learn from everything they did and learn about their life, and it can help you in your own life. So I definitely suggest that. But those are pretty much the main things that I do. And obviously, when it's not in lockdown times, I'll try to spend time with people I care about. I'll go for hikes, that sort of thing, or even just go for walks, just go outside in general, because I love nature and being outdoors. So just stuff like that. Basically, the way I de-stress is by doing things I enjoy. And that's how you should too. And that breathing exercise is super helpful as well. And there is one other thing I want to throw in here just for, well, anyone who could be benefited by it, really. But I have seen online people talk about watching porn to de-stress, and I've even had people recommend that to me as a way of de-stressing. And I just want to touch on that, even though I know it's kind of a weird, well, it's not a weird subject, it's just more of, it's something people don't normally talk about in the day-to-day, but I wanted to address it because I don't think that's a great way of de-stressing. I understand that it works, but it's not something that I do. I actually, it's like a goal I've made for myself to not do that, because it just affects your life in so many other ways. And it basically, it's one of those things where it's easy to do, but it's addictive. It's like eating sugar. A lot of people will eat sugar to de-stress, but then they get addicted to that, and then months down the road, they're putting on weight and they don't feel great anymore. And it even affects your mood, really, because sugar is one of those things that just messes up your body whether or not you realize it. And I would say porn is a similar thing, only it actually messes up your mind more than your body. And I would say that's worse, because it just affects, especially with whatever you're into, if you get into weird stuff, like that's going to affect what you find attractive in the real world. And it's just not a rabbit hole you want to go down. Now, I actually like went on a journey, it must have been in like early college, I want to say, so maybe around like 2014 or 2013. I went on a journey where I just learned about all this stuff, and I learned about what porn can do to your mind and your body. Just, well, more for men. Performance issues are something men can get if they watch too much of it. And I just basically went down this rabbit hole, and ever since then have tried to keep a hands-off approach with that, because it's not a good habit. Like, there are better ways of de-stressing, like all the things I listed before. And I wouldn't suggest anyone should use this as a method for that, even if it works. It's just something where there are what's the word, consequences for it. And it basically can impact your love life, your romantic life, and it's just your relationships. It's just not a good thing, and it is addictive behavior. I would say as much as possible you want to try to cut out things that are addictive because they just affect you so much more than you realize. Anyway, I'm like rambling at this point, but I highly suggest, especially for men, to just try to go that no porn route. And if you need help on that, definitely try the breathing practice when you feel the urge to watch it, because that works really well. It just kind of gets you out of your mind so that you don't feel that urge as much. But just, yeah, try not to do that. This is me speaking from my own experience, but also I've talked to plenty of other guy friends and then just reading about the experiences of other men online. And that's why I'm passionate about this. I may in the future even just flat out make a video on it. But yeah, I just don't watch porn if you can. Just try practicing all those other things. They're way healthier forms of stress relief. If you really need to relieve yourself in a sexual way that much, then I would urge as much as possible just try to get an actual partner that you can do those things with. And I understand that is hard, but that's what you should aim for. That's the it's just a far better way. Anyway, I need to stop at this point. I'll make a video on it at some point. Anyway, I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.